So just testing.
I hate mobile games. I run away from them.
Hello and welcome. This is another episode of the Playstyle podcast, and I am Ishan, and I'm here with one more guest, one of the new age target audience of Gen Z, and I'll let him introduce himself before I talk about what this podcast is about. So, hello Manish, and welcome.
Hey Shan, thank you so much for having me. I don't think I can top off the Gen Z introduction as such, but just a little bit about me. I am 23 years old, so of course I am a Gen Z member apparently. But I used to play a lot of games, and Ishan and I have been on and off about games all the time. So uh, thought I should have an interesting conversation with him. While I'm not playing games, which I don't anymore, but there was a brief amount of time in my life where I played a lot of games. Um, After that, I switched to product and growth roles while that's what I work on. So, yeah, that's a little bit more about me.
Yeah, he's the old guy sitting in the Gen Z cover or something like that. But
Yes.
talking about games, this is what the podcast is about. I try to talk to people who are not making games because I think it's interesting, and I've had some fun, interesting conversations so far. So if you haven't checked it out, go check out other episodes as well. Uh, yeah, let's start and come to the games that you were playing and all soon. But before that, I'll ask you one question. Like I say, games. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Mm. The first thing that comes to my mind is growth. I know it's not a work-related stuff. I'm really talking about like a personality development side of growth.
Interesting. Okay.
That's my perspective on it. The first thing that generally comes to your mind is typically what kind of journey you've had and what kind of word you associate with that sort of experience in your life. Specifically about my gaming journey, um, it was for me a very big turn of events in terms of social anxiety. I was very socially anxious when I was a kid. I found my solace in computer games, and for me, it has taught me to go from how to not be a person who's always constantly silent in the room to making new friends online and then slowly translating or rather transcending that friendship to offline world. So for me it has majorly been around growth, so that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Like again, I didn't expect this as an answer, so it's very nice to hear that. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So yeah, coming to that point, what is the first memories of games that you have had that we can start off with?
Yeah. Yeah, first memories of games. I remember the very first game way back in maybe second, third, fifth, somewhere around those schooling periods would be Cricket 2007 and Raw
Yeah,
um, and some amount of Spider-Man, the one where you shoot webs and the thugs go.
yeah. I know the
That
old
one.
old one. Yes, I
Old
remember.
Spider-Man, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where there is nothing, so there are only buildings and there is nothing but orange light in the
Yes.
uh,
Yeah,
below
it
the
was a
building. So
old
that's all you
PC
get.
game thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know the like actual name of that
Name.
game, but yes,
Yeah,
I remember that. Ah, interesting. And then
yeah. So way back.
are you still playing those games, or what are you playing currently?
Interesting. So actually, I have moved out of digital games to now board games and specifically more about chess. So last 2 years, I've been obsessed with chess and chess only. Even though I guess we can say that it's also like a digital game because you can play it online now.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, yeah. But the major game that I've been obsessing over for the last, at least after the pandemic or during the pandemic, is when chess happened. Before that, I was extremely high on competitive games such as Dota 2 and CSGO and CS 1.6. I did a background my calculation. I just went through my Steam profile and I just saw that I've spent 4,000 hours on Dota 2 and a combined 2272 hours in CSGO and 1.6.
Yes,
So
well, I knew this. I knew this was
yeah,
coming because I was trying to get to that because I know
yeah,
Manish was like super like engaged Dota 2
yeah,
and CS:GO player. So
yeah,
we'll talk about that because I would like to know like what was that about this
yeah,
4,000 or like 8,000 hours of overall
yeah.
competitive gaming experience like.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was amazing. It had, I would say it had repercussions for sure in from my career or like a schooling or that point of view. But if I would like to say that I managed it really well, so I didn't really face a lot of heat in that space, or I maybe cut it off at the right time. But yeah, there was a lot of there were a lot of things to gain from that experience as well. So I wouldn't, if I got a chance to go back and do it differently, I still wouldn't do it because I feel the personality side of me was heavily influenced by the games that I played. Um, so yeah, I really consider that games were a big part of my life and wouldn't change that for sure.
Yeah, and that's great. Like because you initially mentioned that that affected your personality in some way, and the Dota 2 and CS:GO kind of the games where you have to play with the team, play against a team,
Yes.
all that happens. So what was it that you would say you liked about those games?
Yeah.
That you still do, or maybe you have grown out of it, that you feel that now I don't want to play Dota 2 because of this, or this was
Correct.
something that I liked then.
Correct. Correct. I maybe I'll take a step back and go back to how I started
Yes.
approaching games in the first place. Initially, I used to play Call of Duty, and my whole idea was just to complete a mission because it was always single player. So I used to do that. Back then the goal was just that this is a lot of fun. You play with a lot of guns and you kill the bad guys. So great. That's about it. This was me way back in seventh standard, but after that in eighth grade I realized, or I was introduced to this whole scenario where you can play online with other people, where you are competing with them. And if you are not good at the game, you just die. That's how it works. It's not like a computer AI bot anymore. You have to play with real people who uh, may or may not be skilled at this game
Yeah.
better than you or not better than you. So the whole approach changed from I just have to kill a bad guy to I have to be good at this game. Otherwise, I'm not having fun at all. This was me in 8th to 10th phase where there was majorly CS 1.6. It was like a big
Okay. It was still
thing in
CS
the.
1.6.
Yeah, yeah, back then.
And
Yeah.
was it Dota 1 then, or you had
Yeah,
already
yeah. I was
started
like,
Dota 2?
no, no, I started off with Dota 1. I remember a couple of I met a lot of people who were elder to me, and they sort of taught me a lot of games, and thankfully they were patient enough to wait for me to learn Dota in general. Dota is a very complicated game.
Yes.
It takes around 6 months for you to just figure out what is going on. So yeah, they were patient enough, and thankfully I learned that game. And back then it was Dota 1, and if I remember correctly, until 2012, Dota 2 was only invite only
Yes.
access, and it was not free to play for everyone. Uh, so yeah, thankfully one of the same person who taught me Dota 1 got me an access to Dota 2 as well. So that's how I was introduced to Dota 2. And this person is Anurag. So if you're hearing this, Anurag, hey, I'm gonna send this. So thank you so much for getting me introduced to Dota 2 in general. And yeah, that's how I started playing Dota 2.
And it was the community and the becoming best in your team kind of aspect that drove you to
Yeah.
play more, you would say?
No, I would say that I think yeah that always was there. As I mentioned, up until seventh, it was just trying to get the mission done, and after seventh, when I joined CS 1.6, it was more of how do I get better at this game and how do I not die every round. And then Dota is a completely different scenario where you get to know that this is not all you. This is going to be a team effort. Eventually the whole perspective on the game changed. I don't did not enjoy playing CS anymore because I knew that while CS was great, it was still there were chances where one person can still turn the game in CS or any other CS:GO 1.6. If you have a 1v5 and one person shows up, then you win the round. But in Dota 2, not the case almost all the time. So you have to be uh, pretty conscious about the choices that you make as a team, as an individual at the same time. I feel it was like a different level of challenge after CS 1.6, where CS was still more of an individual skill set, not more of a team skill set.
Yeah.
Uh, but Dota 2 is a way. Dota 2's weightage of team skill set was way higher as compared to an individual skill set. So it was a next layer of challenge for me after from those 7th to 12th to now playing Dota 2 for
Yeah,
for
so
the
so
team
you
perspective.
started off with CS, like CS:GO, whichever, and
Hmm.
then it was just go ahead and shoot, and then Dota is more like your choice from your first click kind of
Correct,
matters.
matters. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, not just yours, but you as a team. And
Yeah,
in my
so
opinion,
you
Dota 2.
would you would have been that annoying kid who keeps telling others that you suck and you are bad at
Yeah.
this game when you were playing.
Actually, yeah, yeah, yeah. When I mean personality growth, it has made me realize the real dark side of me, especially on the digital spaces where, and it was never, the intentions were never to hurt other people, it was just to improve. But I realized that the way you improve other people is not by yelling at them. And there was like a big learning for me that you have to be patient, and most people are not able to visualize the consequences in that short span of time, because in every game the attention or other span of making decisions is so quick that your brain cannot handle visualizing all the choices that you make. So in fact you have to take a step back after the game, tell them that the choices that you made here, this is how it turned up later on in the game. So it's more of working with them after the game rather than yelling at them during the game. So that's like a big learning for me, and that I still carry with me in my professional life and all the other spaces of life as well. So there are a lot of things like these that I can carry from gaming learnings.
Yeah,
So I was,
like of course,
yeah,
and it gives me an idea that like those, because the game like Dota, it has a very steep learning curve in a way. Like
yes,
if you don't do your proper tutorial matches, if you don't play with uh, like bots or something for some time,
yeah,
you won't be
yeah,
able to directly go into a competitive match and perform really well. You will
correct,
be getting yelled at by kids like Manish.
yes,
So that's the reason I haven't played so much. Like I have
yeah.
fewer hours on Dota 2, and I cannot go back to the game right now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I think it has a very steep learning curve, and I personally feel that if you really want to learn that game. Oh, by the way, by competitive, I just mean playing online. I have not gone to tournaments and won them. If others are getting confused by that, so but just being able to play with people online and sort of slowly improving your skill set in that segment, even if you are like a 1000 mmr player or a 2000 mmr player, for you just moving to 3000 mmr can be a goal, and you cannot do that if you're constantly making the same mistakes again and again. So I constantly relate Dota with life, because uh, a lot of it will apply to life again, which is what I see in all these professional gamers who play Dota 2, who always come back with this saying that Dota is a lot like life. A lot of shit happens to you, a lot of shit gets thrown at you, and you have to figure your way out of that. So I completely agree with that. And yeah, Dota 2 it has a very steep learning curve. You have to consciously understand what you were doing wrong and what you were doing right, and just figure out and work your way out of that, of the things that you were doing wrong. So yeah, it's a steep learning curve, but nothing you cannot figure out.
Yeah, interesting. But then, like when you now started going to Dota 2, or that was that point where you were playing the super competitive game, did you move completely away from other games which weren't giving that kind of skill level high, or like the steep
Yeah.
learning curve kind of thing? Or did you still play other games like Cricket 2007 where you started off, like something like
Yes.
that, which was very, you don't need to bother much? Would you still
Yes.
play during that time, or did you have no interest in going back to that game at all?
No, I completely cut off all the other
Yeah.
games. I was just playing Dota 2. The reason behind that is I had already outgrown them, because they had only one thing to offer, and it was sort of predictable. The beauty of Dota 2 or any other RPG game, for that matter, is that nothing is same for that no two things are same for every game. So if you play one game today and second game tomorrow, there are only handful of things that will play out exactly as I did on the first game. So the beauty of Dota 2 is always that you have to deal with new situations every time, newer and newer all the time. So that sort of got me very close to Dota 2 because it has it has the ability to get you on your toes and you cannot go back. You always have to be constantly on your toes to figure out what is going on right now. And that sort of high, I don't think any other game at that point of time gave me. So I stuck with Dota 2 and
Yeah, makes
cancelled all
sense.
the other games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, talking about Dota 2, like we'll get back to your more of your experiences with Dota 2 now, but I have to ask this question. What about League of Legends?
Oh, that's the burning question. Yeah, I remember people having brawls of debates
Yes,
and some having a very good tendency of turning into a physical fight. I don't know why people had so many differing opinions. I generally don't feel that League of Legends. I am not that kind of person who was Dota 2 versus LOL, or I had like a big problem with LOL or anything like that. I know typically most Dota 2 players would have that. Um no, actually, I never. I feel that if I stumbled on League of Legends, I would have also liked that. But I happened to stumble on Dota 2 earlier on, so I just was in contact with people who maybe preferred Dota 2 over League of Legends, and that's how I was introduced to Dota 2. I never actually tried LOL at all. I
yeah.
was very satisfied with what I was getting. Yeah,
That's what I was going to. Yeah, of course, I know there is this whole Dota versus LOL kind of subculture thing.
thing.
But
Yeah.
then, have you tried League of Legends? Like anywhere afterwards, before that, anytime?
No, actually, never. I used to. I remember seeing these memes on League of Legends as to how they're extremely similar
Yeah.
and how they're almost identical. But no, that's the only introduction that I had. The most amount of LOL I've seen is on memes, and I never actually tried it.
Okay.
Honestly, with honestly, I think that Dota 2 has really managed to get the graphics in place that entice you way more than LOL. At least whatever introduction I've had to LOL back in time. So I
Yeah,
never
fair
really
enough.
liked
Like they
LOL.
look kind of different, but work sort of same.
Similar.
They are
Yeah.
like different games because it would have been interesting to see like what your perspective on LOL would have. Okay, so if you were to try LOL, the similar form of Dota, like the MOBA kind of games, the MOBA games. So would there be anything that would make you try LOL, or would you never go to LOL? Like not on the platform, like on PC, whatever it is.
No, I don't think I'll ever go back. I'll ever try out. I'll not even consider trying out LOL because the major delta that Dota 2 has over LOL for me specifically is the friends that I've made. They all play Dota 2, so it would be very difficult for me to convince all of them to go to LOL. And it's similar for any other social media platform also. You wouldn't be on Instagram if your friends are not on Instagram, or if you
Correct.
wouldn't be on any instant messaging platform if you don't have your friends on the IM platform. So no, I wouldn't ever try LOL. Not because I have anything against the game. It's just that the majority of fun that I have in Dota 2 or whatever I reap out of that time while playing Dota 2 is a lot of chunk, a major amount of chunk from it comes from me playing with my friends. And uh, no, I don't think I'll be able to convince them to play a completely new game. So no, I wouldn't try it out. Nothing
Yeah,
against the game as such.
yeah, I get it, and that's what the answer I expected. So, like,
Yeah,
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 just because it's common that
yeah,
once you get into one game, it's like a platform, and considering the
yeah.
game has been running around for so many
Correct,
years, now it's as big as say Instagram for people. Like, yeah, if
correct,
you're on this game, you are using this on a regular basis.
correct.
And okay, we have talked a lot about Dota specifically, which I expected to talk to you about.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
nothing different. But now let's come to like more. recent? Like you said, now you're not playing Dota that much. Are
Yes.
you still going back to the game, or is there anything else that you're playing on any other platform, consoles, mobiles, anywhere else?
Interesting. Now I've had like a after 11th and 12th is majorly 11th and 12th grade was majorly when I played Dota 2 a lot, and after 12th I sort of started to realize the bad side of playing a lot of games, which is if I just do a background calculation, spending 6-7 thousand hours on a game is roughly spending 8 months of your life on a game. So uh,
But you enjoyed
if
it,
you
so
I enjoyed it. Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's got a lot from it, but while you're trading that time out, you also have to be mindful of what is important in that age spectrum. So after 12th, I realized that I cannot rent out so much of my time to play games. So that's when I stopped playing Dota 2. That was like a very conscious choice that I made. Um, I do play games now. I tried there was this huge high in lockdown where everybody wanted to play FIFA together on a TV and using console. I cannot do that. I think that I've been majorly a PC gamer. I fumble with a controller. I do not have so much finger independence that I can figure out where is R1, where is R2. I have to pause the game. So much so to a point that I said that I will play on keyboard.
yeah.
You folks play on console. I can't do this. That's not me. But yeah, I keep going back to games where I want to relax, and I've played FIFA in lockdown. I've made the best new discovery from a game point of view has always been chess for me for the last 1.5 years.
Technically not
That's
a
where
new
I
game, but okay.
technically not a game for me. It was a big change from playing Dota 2 from Dota 2 to go from Dota 2 to chess. It's a big difference for me because but then I realized that they're not very different.
Correct. Yes.
For chess, also you have to visualize your choices. You have to figure out what will happen if you make this. What will happen if you make that move. And similarly, that happens in Dota 2 as well. So not very similar, maybe from a consequence and how the game should be played point of view, but obviously the game dynamics change. So that is
Yeah,
the only one
and
that I'm playing.
and chess is basically that, like no two games can basically kind of be the same. There is so
Similar,
many
yeah.
logical things that you
Variations,
have
yeah,
to think about, and that's why I'm
yeah.
really bad at it.
I was extremely pathetic at chess because I knew the only information I had about chess was how the pieces move, and I also did not know the English names for them. I only knew the Hindi names, which is
Yeah, exactly.
DoTA,
I still get
Hati.
confused with the game
Yeah.
names. Yes.
So it took me like a good 2 months to just figure out, oh, this is called a bishop and not unta or camel or something like that. So yeah, that happened. My really close friend was good at chess. Is still good at chess, and he got me into chess. He taught me everything, and after that moment, it was just this constant self learning about how to get better at chess. Yeah. So maybe the latest obsession has always been around chess, and that sort of flew around the network as well because you see all these comedians coming in playing chess
Yeah,
games,
and
and
it was basically the Netflix series, right? The Queen's
correct,
Gambit,
yeah,
after which
Queen's Gambit came in, yeah,
suddenly
yeah,
chess got really popular, and
really popular, yeah. So that's the game that I've been playing so far, and yeah, it's really interesting because I feel that's the part where it's a little different as compared to Dota 2, where you have to use your brains a lot as compared to Dota 2 because in Dota 2 it is very quick. You have to constantly do things and yeah, be in the moment.
there
But here
is a
you have
lot
some
more
time.
the sensomotoric type of challenge on Dota 2 as well. You have to be quick at clicking stuff.
Clicking as well,
Yeah,
yeah.
here you need to be quick at just thinking because the clicking is
Thinking,
not that important.
not
Depends
that
on the
much,
game you play, but yeah, fast clicking
yeah,
is not really super important over here.
yeah. Chess is more of are you able to concentrate and focus and think that line through. If you make this move, are you able to calculate it to the very end? That's where the real challenge is, and it can be very frustrating because you think you are awesome at everything, but then once you have a game of chess where you cannot calculate one line till the very end, you know that you have a lot of shit to learn. So that's like very humbling for me.
Yeah, which is
Over
every
the
chess
course,
game that I play, even
yeah,
with the easiest
yeah.
bots. So,
Very fine, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So now, like, generally, you have got introduced to, say, games like Dota or games like chess, which are more competitive,
yes.
more thinking, and more like strategizing in that way. So, is there any other way that you discover games? Like, how do you find new games? Or do
Yeah.
you not care about it at all? Like, there is
No,
no
I
right answer.
actually
I'm just asking you.
trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. For the last, I've realized that every game that I've played or have been interested in has always been introduced by someone to me. I've never gone out on a spree of trying to find games
But
because
is it like someone you know who introduces, or do you read it in pop
no,
culture,
yeah,
social
always,
media,
always
whatever?
someone who knows. Either it's my friend or back when I was young, it was my brother or all these other folks. It was always an acquaintance or a mutual friend or my closest friend. Somebody whom I trust majorly would introduce a game to me. I would check it out, and if I felt that cool, this is giving me the same amount of. I always would. This is the way I approach games. Even if I'm trying to make a decision about should I or should I not play this game, is me visualizing what I can get out of it. Uh, so chess was this is like a typical understanding of playing chess is that you have to be smart at it, otherwise you can't play chess, and that is true for sure. But nobody talks about how the journey can be really exciting for you from being a person who does not know how the pieces move to you trying to calculate a line till the very end. That on its own is like a big growth for you. So for me, I personally feel that I would adopt a game basis the learning that it has to give out. So if it is taking me from point A to point B, and if I feel that I need that kind of learning right now in my context of life, then I would definitely adopt it. But if it's just wasting my time, like PUBG or something like that, then I will not do it. PUBG haters, I mean, like, not a PUBG hater, but I don't like that game at all.
You just have a problem with that game. So okay.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's really interesting. Like for me to talk to different people on as a giving this podcast as a reason for that, it's interesting
yeah,
for me to know how different people look at games, because I had a friend of
yes,
mine earlier who was really interested in sports games. Like he plays F1, he plays like FIFA and everything, and he has a different reason to play it. He plays only on console and all that. So there was
oh,
another one
yeah,
who likes the story part of it. So it was always like, oh, if the game tells me a good engaging story, that's what keeps you hooked. And now it is really cool to talk to you, because you are like, yeah, it's a strategy that I can build on, and I have this improvement over time which I can sense, and that's what will keep me hooked. So
yeah,
it is that way. Like there are these different kind of users or players that you can put into brackets. It's already there. Like there are explorers that are there are some who like challenged, some who like achievement. So it's a
yeah,
good experiment for me to talk to people and know,
yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
yes, I can put you in this kind of. I'm not
yeah.
bracketing you into one thing, but yes, this is what interests. Like this could be something that interests people.
Yeah,
That's
so
that.
all the podcast guests are lab rats.
Yeah, of course. Like that's what
No,
I'm
I'm
doing.
kidding.
Like,
Yeah, yeah,
why else have I started this podcast?
yeah. No, that makes sense, and uh, yeah, it's very interesting because I've seen my friend be who falls into that category of needs a good story. So he will watch all the snippets of short videos that come in between all these games where typically FPS where you have a storyline. I will skip through them because I don't care,
Yeah.
but he will watch them all the way through. So yeah, definitely folks who try to reap different things out of a game. So yeah, I
So
completely agree with that.
yeah, and now you said you were introduced usually to games from your friends. You like to play these kind of games which are more strategy heavy in some way.
Correct.
Is there something you hate about those games, or something like if I come and tell you like try out this game, and you would just not like something about that game? What do you think it could be?
Are you talking specifically about strategy games?
Yeah, could be strategy game. Like I see, I consider that you trust me enough to take my suggestion. So I will see one X game and I'll tell you, oh, why don't you try this? But there is something that you don't like about that game. It's a strategy game. What could that be? Or something that you didn't like in Dota, for example.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel that the only thing that I hated about Dota 2 was more. It had more to do with my uh, the friend circle or the people that I played with rather than the game itself.
Okay.
For me, it was more of constantly getting better. So, let's say, for example, if I made this choice in the last three games, I would mindfully and actively not make that mistake again in the next maybe couple of games. So, I'll try to make sure that I'm not making that mistake again. For most people, it is always about fun. So,
Yeah.
they don't look at it as a growth point of view or trying to mindfully
So you are a
mend
funless
mistakes.
person. Okay.
Yes, I am the funless person. I will always be the person who will say that, dude, why are you doing this again? We had talked about this. So I try to be very objective about a game, and most people would not approach it in that way. And it was a big learning curve for me to also understand that different people will approach different games in their own perspective. So for me, the only thing that I did not like about Dota 2 was you all have to be on the same page, or you either have to make some adjustments. You should know that you're playing this for fun, or you should know that you're playing this for improvement. So that has to be decided, and that you eventually come to know that this person will only look at fun, this person will only look at mindfully, yeah, growing.
Yeah. So if there is a new strategy game or a new MOBA sort of game which I recommend to you, what would you like if you would say there is a different uh, way for the fun users and serious users? Would that be like something that would make you try a new game? I'm just the reason I'm asking you this is I'm just trying to say, okay, you are this super engaged player of one particular format of games.
Yeah.
Now I want to sell you a new game. Like
Yes.
what could that be? Like that.
Uh, yeah, I'm trying to figure. I'm thinking now. It's more of. It's never about the game as such. Now it's more of how do I want to spend my time. It
Okay.
has changed from. Uh, I don't make decisions about games using games. I just make decisions using time. And if I see that this game will require a huge amount of time commitment,
Correct.
I would generally refrain from buying it. But in, let's just say, in a perfect world scenario, if I have a lot of time and if I'm open to buying games and playing games, it would be majorly around this is going to be challenging, and this is not something that you've played before. So
Okay.
it's a new concept of a game would be enticing for me,
But the
because
challenge is still super important.
yeah, it has to be challenging. Otherwise, it feels like I'm just wasting away my time, and I wouldn't be wanting that at all. So it would push me away from trying out that game.
Yeah, so it's a very like a contradictory kind of setup in a way that you need time to get better at something, but
Yes.
the more time you get, the more challenging it is. So you need a
Yeah.
very challenging game and also want to spend the time. So there is no way you will try to do a challenging game where you play spend less time.
Correct. No, so I feel that I was always apprehensive about starting out new games because I knew that it will take
Yes.
a good amount of time to learn. But with chess, it was so interesting. I didn't even know that I was so deeply engaged with chess because it has this huge amount of growth that is sitting, and the only way I was able to constantly keep at it by spend without getting worried about the amount of time that I'm spending on it was always with this constant hit of, or rather constant realization of growth at every game. So I knew that I'm growing game after game. So that was like a rewarding cycle for me where I knew that okay, cool, I'm spending a couple of hours on this every day, but I'm still getting better at it. So that is time spent well for me. So yeah, that's how I would look at it. And yeah, if a game is able to give me that, then I wouldn't be
And
yeah,
yeah,
I would be
and
open to it.
does that kind of get you back to chess regularly as well? Like, or you want to improve, like, consciously you want to improve at that game, and that's why you play
Yes.
every day, or is it like, yeah, this friend is calling me, that's why I have to go?
Yeah, no, it's also so there are two ways that I look at playing chess again and again. First one is always about it's always about ego for me. I think a big part
Yeah,
of
people
chess
could have
is
guessed by now.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
it's that.
Thanks. But no, but for me it was more of uh, I always feel that if you are smart at something, then you should be able to figure things out. And for me, chess was something where I lacked a lot of knowledge, and I always had this. There's this huge narrative that is widespread in India mostly that if you're a kid and if you're playing chess, you're directly again like immediately superior to all the other peers in your circle. Um, I'd
So
always heard
now
that.
you want to feel superior to your peers.
I don't think I am superior. I actually have been. I've made so many mistakes in chess. That's what I'm saying. It has humbled me to my bones because I know that I've seen all these incredible players in chess who are able to visualize and who have this memory of thousands and thousands of games. So it quickly makes you understand that you're nowhere, and which is fine with me. I don't mind that. It's an ego point of view with me only about myself that if I'm able to if I was good at Dota, at least some amount of good was only because I was mindfully making choices and I was constantly understanding that okay, this is what I had done in the past and I shouldn't do this again in the future games. Similarly, I use chess in the same manner to just make sure that I'm focusing and I have a good amount of remembrance about past mistakes. So that is the only thing that gets me back to chess again and again is that I want to make sure that I'm not losing out on that trade because that trade goes back to multiple parts of my lives, including professional stuff. So I want to keep getting better at it. So it's like a way of me trying to polish my skill set in that
Yeah.
manner. So
And
so yeah.
yeah, and because of these games driving you to do this, like you have to be engaged at some point and
Yes,
understand
yes.
by learning, looking at other people. I assume you also consume content that
Oh
is a
yeah,
lot more chess streams, for example, or Dota streams, for
correct.
example, or all that, which comes with it,
Yes,
right? And that
yes.
is also one of your viewing, or do you not care and you just play the game?
No, no, I definitely do watch a lot of stuff about every game that I'm playing. Especially now, there are two parts to it. The way I approach Dota 2 content is majorly around how professional players look at a certain point and how I am looking at a certain point, and sort of try to bridge that gap. Because if anybody is professional at a particular game, they are definitely doing something different than you, and that's just scope for you to grow. So I watch a lot of Dota 2 content around interviews and how they approached a certain point in the game.
And you still do
Um,
that, like it wasn't
yeah, I still
earlier,
do that.
yeah.
Still do that. The only way I'm still connected with Dota 2 is all the professional content. I still follow some of the major tournaments that happen around Dota 2. Majorly the international, which is
Yeah.
once every year. So I do follow that because there is so much to learn and then apply it in different contexts of your life. I feel that's the beauty of looking at games in my perspective is that you can pick up a learning and then you can just apply it to different parts of your life. So you just have to be good at mending the context, and if you're able to do that, then there's nothing better for you from a game perspective, at least in my opinion. So I do follow a lot of events and a lot of interviews where people talk about their experiences, majorly professional gamers. That's the part that I consume specifically about Dota 2. Now, when it comes to chess, it is always around improving because I am at this point of the game where I want to hit the maximum level, maximum potential of my chess game, and after that I still then at Dota 2 it was more of okay, I know I can't go beyond this level. It is not possible for me. Even if it is possible, I have to pour in a good amount of time, which I don't want to do. So I'm very happy with where I am. I just want to now take learnings from professional gamers and apply it to different parts of life. I don't think I've reached that level yet in chess. I feel that in a couple of months, maybe I'll realize, no, this is the best that I can do, and I'm also okay with it. Then I'll again start looking at chess from that perspective.
Or
Right
would
now,
you
the
move to
chess
another
content,
game?
maybe, yeah, hopefully, if that happens. But the way I approach chess content right now is majorly just to improve my game, and I look at a lot of game analysis by Agadmator and chess streams, majorly around the live tournaments. I never look at comedian content because I don't think that improves your chess. It's just for entertainment. Sometimes that's also important, but yeah, majorly around trying to improve my game in chess. That's how I approached two of them. Yeah.
Interesting. Now I'll still like this is a cool topic to talk about because you are this competitive kind of gamer, right? So have
Yes.
you tried, because you played on PC like chess, maybe you play on mobile phone as well as PC?
Yeah. PC, mobile phone, and board, all of them.
Yeah, okay. And then have you tried other games on mobile which try to get that competitive aspect as much, like Clash Royale, for example, where it is
Yes.
about, they also have huge tournaments, they have a huge esports thing going for them, and the game also depends a lot on the Dota like strategy, but on the smaller screens. And what do you think about it?
No, I was never really enticed by smaller screen strategy games. I used to play Clash of Clans for a while, and I never really enjoyed it. After a point, I felt that it is getting too stagnating, or maybe it's not giving me newer things. So I got bored and I left. So no, I've never really
And
enjoyed playing smaller screen strategy games as such.
the
Yeah,
Clash Royale, where you have to like
I've never tried it.
3 lane thing.
Uh, Nope, I never really tried it because Clash of Clans was my first introduction to smaller screen strategy games, and that itself disappointed me to a level where I never have gone back to mobile games ever in my entire life. So,
Interesting,
um,
because
yeah,
when Clash Royale also came out, it has the same 3 lane kind of setup. You have to, it's actually 2 lanes but 3 bases. Like it's a toned down MOBA for the screens, like the smaller
correct.
screens, and that's why I was wondering whether you gave it a try, because the kind of experience I had when I first played Clash Royale is like, wait, I remember this because I like Dota, and it is
It
giving
has
me
very
that kind
similar.
of sense to it. So
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think. I feel that the way I approach this is you need three things in order for you to like any game. First is comfort, second is the network, and third is do you like the game or not? The concept of the game, basically. Uh, for me, comfort is always on PC. I don't like playing games on mobile phones. I'm not really comfortable with the idea of holding a phone and playing games on it. I can't do that. Physically impossible for me. And also don't enjoy it. So comfort and enjoyment are sort of correlated for me. Uh, yeah, that's the first point. Second point is network. I have very less amount of people who in my network who play games on mobile phones, which is why, because mostly all of them are like me. They enjoy PC games more than mobile games. So network effect is not there. So I wouldn't want to be on a game where I cannot play with my friends. Third will be the concept of the game. I really enjoy the concept of Dota 2. It has fit really well with the way I want a game to be. So I don't think that I got any of that from Clash of Clans or Clash Royale. I've never really tried Clash Royale, so I can give it like a benefit of doubt. But I still don't feel that the comfort is like a big deal breaker for me. So that's how I don't. That's how I approach games in those three aspects, and I don't think that Clash Royale fits in any three of them, and that's why I don't like to. Yeah, I don't play those games at all on mobile phones, especially. No.
yeah, interesting, because the way I looked at Clash Royale when it came out, and even now because it's popular, and especially me pointing out Clash Royale, was that they tried to solve these problems which the bigger scale LOL or Dota kind of brought, which like, well, one game requires you at least 40 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on how good or bad you are, and then you have to play you can play it on a vertical screen so that you can play with one hand technically,
Yes.
but ideally you would like 2 hands. So they
Yes.
tried
Yes.
to solve that, and that has actually worked for them in some way because it's a super popular game still after like 4 5 years. So that's why I was wondering whether you gave it a try and would you be interested. But makes sense, like you have and you have access to the PC gaming setup as well. So you would rather go back, spend your time on your PC screen Dota than going on mobile. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
super interesting.
yeah. No, I would never be comfortable with mobile phone games. I don't enjoy them, so wouldn't want to play them.
Yeah, perfect. Like I feel bad about it because I make mobile games, but okay.
I'm so sorry, man, but
Fair, it's
yeah, I'm
fine.
just being honest. Yeah,
I have to deal with this.
yes. I hope you
Okay.
sleep well at night today.
I try.
Yeah,
But
I'm kidding.
that's not for this podcast. It's okay.
Yeah,
So okay, we spoke a lot, and I loved this conversation. It was really cool to talk, and I knew it would be this fun conversation when you said you wanted to talk. So
yes.
as expected. So now before we like kind of wrap up, we will like, is there anything you would suggest that people should play? Like a lot of people, I expect a lot of people listening, whenever they listen, would not know much about the MOBA games or the Dota, or what does LOL mean and all that. So if someone wants to start playing something, like someone wants to get into Dota, what would you suggest? Or is there any game that you would say that, oh, go try this out and see how it feels?
Yeah. I think I would take a step back and ask folks, whoever are approaching, are trying to figure out games to play, to understand what they want to get out of it. If they want to get just fun and just have time pass, then you can play literally any game that will give you a good amount of fun. Don't play Dota 2 if fun is the only thing that you want to get out of the game, because uh, in general the
That is
game
the good
demands
point,
so much.
yes.
The game demands so much from you that you would either be so bad at it because you're approaching it from a fun perspective that you will get disappointed and you'll get disheartened and you'll leave the game. Um, so I would be mindful about what you want to get out of the game, getting that straight with yourself first. Also trying to figure out what you enjoy playing. So if you enjoy, in general, if you're a competitive person, then getting into a competitive game would be a no-brainer. But if you are more of a isolated person who just wants to finish something, then a Call of Duty or something like that, a story game FPS would be fun for you. I personally, my idea of approaching Dota 2, or why I got so connected with Dota 2, is because I am a competitive person. I like improving, or spending my time where I get to improve, and I have this madman quality of trying to figure out how to pick learnings and put it everywhere in the context of life. So which is why Dota 2 worked out really well for me. But if you are a mad person and you still want to learn Dota 2 after this call or after listening to this podcast, then I would approach I would approach Dota 2 in this manner, where consume a lot of content around basics first, understand how the game functions, understand what is the difference between a person who is just starting out and a professional gamer, and try to figure out where you stand in that, and then work your way up from that. Following a lot of content, Purge puts up brilliant content. Just analyzing, just being observant in professional gamers or professional games is more than enough for you to understand where you're going wrong. So yeah, I mean, to summarize, first would be figure out what you want to get out of the game. Second would be trying to understand where you are in the journey. Third, just be observant and consume a lot of content. And fourth and final one would be execute on it. If you're not executing and just trying to be observant, it doesn't make sense. So you'll not never
Yeah,
improve.
if you
So
don't execute, someone like Manish will come and shout at you on the chat.
yeah,
Yeah, and
I'm
the
not that
important
person anyway.
and important thing is you need lot of time.
Yes,
You,
you need a lot of time. 8 months of my life has gone into playing games. I actually don't regret it as much because I was able to spin it off in a way where I got a lot out of it, and whatever repercussions I had, I managed to work my way around that.
but
If you think you can do that,
yeah,
yeah,
as long
you
as
should do
you're
that.
aware of it and you use
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't think it's a problem. Yeah.
For sure. No, it has the scope of building out your personality beautifully if you navigate through it correctly. Honestly, it also has a lot of. Uh, it has a scope of destroying your life also. So make sure that you balance it out. I know Ishan doesn't want to hear this,
No, it's
but
okay.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
makes sense. Like, definitely, I agree
yeah,
to that. And
yeah.
on that note, we have recorded a lot with this beautiful personality shaped by Dota.
Yes. Yes,
So
amazing time.
thank
Yeah.
you if you're listening to this. And
Yes.
as usual, like, follow, share, subscribe, tell your friends, all that. And now this podcast is available on all platforms. So on Apple Podcast, there is this rating thing. So you have to go rate 5 stars and all that. So do that as well.
Yes.
And yeah, thanks, Manish. I think we have a lot. This will be a long podcast. I hope people listen, people like it. And
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, this was my first podcast ever, so I was really excited about it, and uh, I was excited about the fact that the first podcast is also about games. So I sort of got back to games in the very beginning again. So yeah, I was really happy. Thank you so much for having me, and at least
Perfect.
I
Now,
hope
now
got one
Manish will
thing.
go back and play Dota or chess.
Or chess, either of them. I think I'll go back with chess for sure. Yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for listening in, and yeah, please share. I think Ishan is a fantastic host, and
Yeah, and
yeah,
if you
please
want, if you
share your
have your own stories, like if you want to talk about games and you think Manish's idea of playing games was super boring, that he likes challenge and learns life lessons and all that, so let me know. We will talk, and I'll record, and we can diss on Manish there. So it's okay.
yeah. I think that there's a fair possibility that could happen because I've seen so many of my friend circle just say that please do it, just let me have fun. You please get out of
Exactly.
this game.
I was
Yeah,
judging you while listening to you as well, so it's fine.
come on, man, let me be. But
Okay. On that
yeah,
note, yeah. Okay. I guess we'll just wrap up. I'll let you be.
yes.
Cool. Thank you. Bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye bye. Thank you so much, Ishan.